Okay, my name is Jeff Gregg. I'm doing a instructional video today on finding things, hyperlink usage. This is following on from the video I did the other day, which is how I find out how to do things. In that I showed how I use the internet to find out what I know, basically. But there's more to it than that, because once you find things, tremendous advantage on the internet is you can hyperlink to things. By way of an explanation, I'm going to show you how, by initially wanting to find out something about James Bond, I found out how the Americans decided to enter World War One. To show you all this, I'm going to share my screen, so I'll do that today. And it's another thing, we could do a thing later on, how to share your screen with other people, but I'm going to share my screen. Okay. All right. Okay. Righto. All right, so we're watching television the other night, and while we're watching television, the James Bond movie came on. My wife said to me, which one was this one? Which one came first? Which one came second, etc. Things like that. So what you do is, I did this all on my phone, by the way. I'm doing it on a computer, but I just typed in James Bond movies. James Bond movies. Okay, I'd already done that, so it'll come up like that. So there we are. It comes up with a list of James Bond movies and when movies was done, so we could see the order in which they appeared. All right, so that was an interesting thing. So I thought, okay, a little bit more about that. So that's that same thing there. So what I'll do is I'll find out. I actually went into one of those pages and went into the thing looking up James Bond. Already knew that James Bond is a fictional character, and he was created by Ian Fleming. So I clicked on a link to Wikipedia, and it came up with James Bond. And notice down here, it's got James Bond series focused on fictional British Secret Service agent created in 1953 by writer Ian Fleming. And you'll notice that Ian Fleming is underlined in blue, all right? This is what's called a hyperlink. A hyperlink simply means that rather than you having to then go and do another search and search for Ian Fleming, you can just click on there. In this particular case, it's going to go to a link, and you'll notice down the bottom here, I notice I'm pointing down there, when I put the pointer over Ian Fleming, down the bottom left-hand corner, it's going to go to Wikipedia Ian Fleming. So I did that, okay, and it came up with this, which is, and by the way, I've already called these up, so that's why they come out very quickly. It comes up with Ian Fleming and tells me a little bit about Ian Fleming. Okay, so it tells us that he's an author, etc. He mentioned James Bond and that. It also says, while working for British Naval Intelligence, he also did some certain work, and he worked on the 30th Assault Unit and a mob called T-Force. Okay, so we go in a little bit more and find out what number 30 this number 30 Naval Intelligence is, right? Number 30 Commando is, okay? And in doing that, it says in September 1952, the Director of Naval Intelligence authorised, etc. And it's got this thing called Director of Naval Intelligence. Okay, so what I'm doing each case, rather than calling these up, if I can click on it, it'll go straight to it. Or if you right-click on it, you can open in a new tab. And that's what I've done previously. And that actually opened up here, Director of something about Naval Intelligence there, right? And I'm reading all about naval intelligence and a bit about the history of naval intelligence, okay? And one of the things I find when I'm looking about naval intelligence is this thing at what they did in World War One, which is to come up with this thing called the Zimmermann telegraph. So I, once again, point at Zimmermann telegraph, right-click on that and say open a new tab. When I do, it comes up with this, which tells me about the Zimmermann telegraph. The Zimmermann telegraph, it turns out, is a telegraph that was sent from the Germans to Mexico at some stage during World War One, inviting them to declare war on America, which they eventually didn't do. But the basis of that happening was, and if you read all this, it'll tell you about it. I'm not going to show you this, you can look it up yourself. The basis of this is that the Americans actually entered World War One. But anyway, look at more detail again. You can click on links, but notice over here, when I put the pointer over there, it changes from a pointer to a hand, which means if I click on that, it opens up again and I can get the full picture of the telegraph. So that's the original piece of paper that originally made the Americans enter World War One. And that was done by following links from links and links, and I found this information out. Okay, so that's what hyperlinking is all about. You get some information, that information leads you to other information, which leads to more information, which leads to more information. So that's why the internet, and particularly the World Wide Web, is so great. By the way, this Western Union Telegraph is all in code. It has to do with encryption. Encryption is all the go now because the Australian government wants to get certain providers like Google and Facebook to unencrypt data for them. Interesting, in the old days, only the professionals could encrypt and unencrypt data. Nowadays, individuals can encrypt data. Might do a separate video on encryption later on. But anyway, just to go back to it, that's how we got from James Bond to a piece of paper which caused the Americans to enter World War One. That's enough about that. If you've got any questions, please don't hesitate to email me. My email address is down the bottom here, all right? Or if you want to see my web pages, that's my website, chef.greg.net.au. Contact me if you want to know more information. Other than that, see you later. I'll better come back to switch all this off, otherwise they come back at the end of an email. Okay, end of a video. So I'll switch that off and it should come back to me. Here it is. I'm sitting outside today because it's so damn cold inside. Okay, and the sun's shining outside. That's enough. See you later. Bye.